Hey guys. so, we all need a creative outlet right now. To cope with the anxiety of, the world. So, one of those things for me is baking. Right now, I'm about to walk you through a recipe really quickly. I'm trying for the first time, but it does involve some other things that I love. It is a beer bread. And much like Oprah, I love bread. Maybe not as much as her, but I do like it. Clearly, we've already established by my track record that I do love beer too. So, um, that's what I'm about to do. It's a recipe I just found today that you can bake a loaf of bread in an hour and a half and not wait all the time that you normally would with proofing a yeast based bread. So, you're going to find out whether I sink or swim. So here we go. All right, as you would imagine, with beer bread, clearly we're going to need beer. This is my favorite, but it's also about $13 a six pack, so I'm not going to be using that. I'm going to be using this beer. If your fridge is anything like mine, you might have a few random things that got left over from six packs. This guy looks really trustworthy, so we're going to go with that. So we're going to start off with 3 cups of sifted flour. This is a sifter. I bought it at Goodwill for like 99 cents. It's incredibly easy to use. And the girl who wrote this recipe, I don't know if she could have stressed any more how important it is to sift the flour to aerate it and make it a lot lighter and less like a big giant brick of bread and more like a loaf of bread. But we are also going to be using 3 teaspoons of baking powder, unless you are, of course, using self-raising flour and not AP flour. We're also going to have a teaspoon of salt. I like to use kosher salt when I'm baking. A half a cup of melted butter. So for those of you who aren't as well versed in butter as I might be, that is 1 stick, and I'm going to melt that down. Those are our basic ingredients. So once I get everything all put together and in this lovely shiny pan I bought at Target that has the cool little lines on it, so you know where to mark it for one giant slice of bread. Pretty fancy. All right, so I'm calling a last minute audible on the play, which means for those of you who aren't football fans, I'm making up my own rules on this one. And I'm adding some spice to my bread. So I am going to use mostly dried stuff because I don't want to add too much more liquid to this, because then it won't bake properly. So clearly you can tell that I have a favorite brand of spice, sponsored by. But I'm going to do some garlic and onion. Like I said, I'm using garlic powder and onion powder because I don't want to put any extra moisture into this mix. Same with the dried parsley. I actually do have some parsley right up there in my window. I'm not going to use it. And turmeric has been my favorite thing lately. It is delicious. It makes everything a beautiful color. And it's really good for you. It's full of anti-inflammatories. It's fantastic, and it's organic. And then we're going to use some cayenne because I would like a little bit of heat in there too. So, gonna add those in. Oh, I just poured the beer in. It's so pretty. So, yes, for obvious reasons, you don't need yeast because it's already in the beer and it's okay. We're back, and here you have it. We've got our dough batter in our pan, which I have sprayed with Pam. And it is beautiful and golden, has some little flecks of parsley in there. So I'm just gonna say I think mine's gonna turn out better than the original recipe. But what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna take that melted butter and we're gonna just pour it right on top. She did say in her recipe that a 1/4 cup will do, but I don't play around with butter. I'm one of those butter loving people. So we're going to pop this into a oven that has been preheated to 375 degrees for 1 hour. And the butter is going to make it nice and crispy on the crust. If you prefer a softer, more traditional bread, you can mix the butter into your dough as you're working with it, and it will make it a little bit softer. So there you go. We'll see you in an hour. So yep, since I am not leaving the house and don't have to wear a mask, you can tell I'm definitely wearing my red lips today. Very, very handy in differentiating your beverage from the people that you're in a group with. Just saying. Right. So I took it out of the oven 15 minutes ago and I put it on this cooling rack. It looks really, really pretty. It's nice and crispy on the top. It's beautiful and it smells so good. I wish you could smell it. So yeah, I believe it turned out pretty good. We'll see. I'll let you know how delicious it tastes later. But yeah, it was super simple and it's so much easier than a traditional yeast-based bread where you are going to have to let it proof for like hours and hours and do a lot of kneading. None of that was involved. So it cuts out a lot of time. So if you need bread and you don't want to run to the store, the ingredients were very simple and, you know, your fridge looks like mine. You've got all those things handy, especially the beer. So I hope you try this out, and if you do, let me know how delicious it was. So it turned out great. It's like the perfect consistency. It is aerated nicely. It is not a big heavy brick. So sift your flour, people. It's super easy and it's fun. But it's the nice golden color from the turmeric. So let's see. It's delicious. And I definitely recommend putting some of that seasoning in there to give it a little extra kick. And of course, like if you don't want this to be a savory bread, it doesn't have to be. You could make it a little bit sweeter or just really plain if you wanted to put sweet things on it. But savory is my jam. So yeah, tell me how yours turned out.